So it's been a dirty day here in the shop. You can see part of the floor. I cut out the majority of it with the plasma cutter, and there was a couple layers of metal in there that other people had patched before, and it's always a mess uncovering layers of metal because everyone back then used to just put patches on top of patches and called it fixed. So we're undoing all that to fix it right. It's getting a one-piece floor. So I'll show you what all I cut out there. I left the floor supports because I need to tie them in yet with the frame rails from this kit. But as you can see a little bit, I got the rear aprons in and cut out the rest of the shock towers to make room for those new shock tower plates and for the bigger engine that's going inside. And everything up front is pretty much done besides welding those tower plates in, which that'll come later. And then I got to do the cowl yet, which I'm going to do the floor first, floor supports also, and then we'll move on to the cowl, clean those cowl side panels up, and then start moving back, hang the doors, and then cut off the quarter. So let's take a look at everything that I've done today and see where we're at. Take a look at the floor first, because this is the ugly part. We'll look at the good looking part later. All I did was just went around with the plasma cutter and cut out the majority of it and left it where it all mounts to the original pieces there. Transition pan, the frame rails. You can see I left that lip on there, and I'll come back later and get that off of there and clean up that metal to prep it for the new floor pan to go and weld on those spots. But I just cut around the floor supports and the transmission mount there. Just went right up to the bottom of the toe boards, which the toe boards are in pretty nice shape. I'll clean off this paint and a little bit of seam sealer that's on there. A little bit of a hole that poked through there. I'm sure there'll be a couple pinholes that we'll have to patch part of that toe board before putting the floor pan in. Same thing with the inner rockers. I got to get rid of the lip from the floor pan. I just plasma cut or hit it with the air hammer actually in places where it was double layered, because sparks just go everywhere with the plasma cutter if you're just trying to blow through a couple layers. So I just took the air hammer and it went right through it because it was pretty rusty in this section. But I need to tie the frame rails up there where you can see that gap there. I have those sections that are going to go in, and they go back the floor support the whole way to the back of it, and it basically replaces from about there back will be all that new metal, and from there up to the front part of it, it'll be layered. We'll leave the floor support there and weld it to the new floor supports that we have actually laying right there. You can see them. I got to do that to both sides, so just made it easy to get the floor out of the way so I can just sit in here like I am right now and just dissect that, put the new ones in place, make sure they're set at the right height, weld them in, and it makes life a lot more simple. You don't have to be laying on your back. You can sit in here comfortable. And then I'll clean up this metal because that's going to be staying along with the firewall metal. You can see that'll be staying. So I'll clean all that down to bare steel. And that's about it inside here. Like I said, I'm going to be working on those floor supports next before I put the floor in. So I get them all done, set the floor on top, and we'll go from there. But coming up front, these are getting changed because it's getting a new cowl, so I have to remove that from the cowl. Those fender extensions, which I have new ones sitting over there. But for right now, I just screwed them in place to the rear aprons. But rear aprons are all welded in place. Like I did on the other ones, I welded it from the back side, just so it makes it clean in the end. I got the brackets that they had in the kit that you use to attach the aprons, and I welded the rest of the frame from the new kit on both sides, the front and the inside, along with welding it to the firewall. Just quick cleaned up some of that metal to get all the old seam sealer off the firewall, and I continued into the inside where it would be tight before I put these aprons on. Clean that up on both sides, and then I'll finish cleaning up the center section later on, but I just wanted to get those clean before I put the aprons on. And after that, I used a plasma cutter, cut out the old shock towers, and prep that metal for the new tower plates to go in place, which I'll set them in place just so you can get a feel for what it's going to be like. But just looking at how much space that gives you, that's why lots of people go with these conversion kits, just because it makes it so clean in the end, gives you a lot more space to work around, meaning you can fit a bigger engine. It's just a win-win. Set one of these tower plates in place. This is the side. That's just sitting on top. It doesn't mount like that. They want you to cut a slot in the remaining metal from that shock tower, and that would slide into it, and actually this would be on the bottom side of that. But that gives you the gist of what that's going to be like in the end. Which, like I said, it just cleans it up. Straight line right down the center there. And just finishes everything off nicely. That's about it for the front end. I'm going to leave those tower plates until I test fit the engine in. And floor supports next, flooring, we'll be working on a little bit tomorrow, so we'll see what we get done. And then I got to clean up the whole side, the cow side panels and the pillars there. A little bit of patchwork that I got to do in there. You can see that's bubbling out, which actually it would break right off if I pulled that. You can see the rust hole starting there. You got to take care of all that stuff that you don't want to leave that, because it's just going to kick you later on. Now's the time to take care of everything like that. That's a wrap on day 5 on the 69 Fastback. This is the 5th day that I've worked on it. I missed one day yesterday, like I said, if you watched the video yesterday, but back on it strong today. Got a lot knocked out. Everything's going real smooth. If I have any fitment issues with panels, I'll let you guys know, just so you can maybe avoid them in the future with your job if you're doing some similar pieces, just to let you know how everything fit. But all the panels up front fit really nice. Rad support, all the aprons. That front frame kit fits really nice. Everything lines up really nice, level. So we're going to continue with that tomorrow, getting those floor supports in, which they're pretty straightforward. There shouldn't be any issues there. But floor pans, they always fit real good, especially if you're doing a full one. I always recommend doing a full floor pan on any floor pan job. If you're doing halves, you got to do a weld, which some people don't do it that way. But for the strength of it, I do a weld the whole way down the floor where you're sectioning that floor pan half in. And just the time that it takes you to do all that, to prep, cutting out the halves, prep the new halves, weld that whole thing, seam seal that whole line that you just welded in the end. It's just the time that it takes, you could do the whole floor pan in the same amount of time, or less. In my opinion, I can do them quicker than halves. So that's why I always recommend doing full floors. So, yeah, we'll be back on it tomorrow. We'll put up another video hopefully at the end of tomorrow, if not the next day. I appreciate everyone that's been watching these. I think it's kind of cool to just do a recap at the end. I'd like to do some in the process videos, but it's just the amount of time that it takes to do that. I just do these at the end of the day, so it's not, affecting any of the time into the cars. It's just me going over at the end of the day as just finishing my day out or starting the day. So thanks for watching the videos. If you liked it, as always, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. It's at the top to be notified whenever I upload any more videos in the future. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll get back on it tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.